The Hong Kong Federation of Trade Unions, HKFTU, is a pro-Beijing labor and political group established in 1948 in Hong Kong. It is the largest labor group in Hong Kong with over 410,000 members in 251 affiliates and associated trade unions. Presided by Ng Shou Pei and chaired by Wong Kwok, it currently commands 5 seats in the Legislative Council of Hong Kong and 30 district councillors. Being one of the oldest existing labor unions in Hong Kong, the HKFTU has a long tradition of following the command of the Communist Party of China, CPC, the ruling party of the People's Republic of China, PRC. It took a leading role in the Hong Kong 1967 leftist riots against the British rule and was suppressed by the colonial government. In the 1980s, the HKFTU took the vanguard role in opposing fast democratization in Hong Kong with the conservative business elites during the run-up to the Chinese resumption of Hong Kong sovereignty in 1997. The HKFTU leaders became the founding members of the Democratic Alliance for the Betterment of Hong Kong, DAB, today's largest pro-Beijing party, in 1992. Since the late 2000s and early 2010s, the HKFTU resumed its independent banner in the elections with more pro-grassroots and pro-labor stances, distant from the DAB's pro-middle class and professionals outlook. Part 1. Policies. The main slogans of the HKFTU are patriotism, solidarity, rights, welfare and participation. The group focuses on the rights and welfare of workers, supporting the workers in their negotiation with employers and to resolve labor disputes. It works to amend legislation to protect labor rights and prevent employers from exploiting loopholes in labor laws. It opposes importation of foreign labors and calls for legislation against age discrimination. Politically, it espouses a strong sentiment of nationalism. It supports the governments of the People's Republic of China and Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. It allied with the Hong Kong government on many issues but has a pro-grassroots stance on livelihood and labor issues, such as demanding more measures to reduce unemployment. Due to its government loyalist nature, industrial militancy has been remarkably absent from the HKFTU's action program. In addition, the HKFTU also operates 5 retail outlets to provide discounts to its members in a variety of goods, and provide training, medical and other services to members at discounted rates. It also extends to include catering, travel agencies, services and credit card facilities. Part 2. History. Part 2. History. Chapter 1. Early years. The Hong Kong Federation of Trade Unions, then known as the Hong Kong and Kowloon Federation of Trade Unions, was formed by the pro-communist trade unionists in 1948, at the same time as its rival, pro-nationalist Hong Kong and Kowloon Trades Union Council, TUC, was set up in the midst of the Chinese Civil War between the communists and nationalists in mainland China. It was registered as non-union friendly societies under the Societies Ordinance in order to avoid the restrictive provision in the newly introduced Trade Union Registration Ordinance of 1948. During the 1950s and 60s, the HKFTU functioned as industrially based friendly societies or craft-based fraternities and provided benefits and other supplementary aids to the veteran members who was under the threats of unemployment and low pay. It contested with the TUC in industries, trades, and workplaces under the left-right ideological divide in that period. The relations between the HKFTU and the colonial government remained tense. The union activities were under strict restriction from the government. Inspired by the Cultural Revolution, the HKFTU escalated labor disputes into the anti-colonial government riots in 1967. Many labor activists and HKFTU cadres were imprisoned and deported. Due to its violence and bomb-attacking campaign, the HKFTU suffered serious setbacks in both public esteem and official tolerance. During the riots, the HKFTU also boycotted participation in any officially appointed consultative bodies by the colonial government until Beijing's communist government adopted the economic reform in the late 1970s. Part 2. History. Chapter 2. Transition to 1997. In the background of the 1980s shifts of the political economy in the mainland China and the negotiations on Hong Kong's political status after 1997, the HKFU readjusted its policy toward the colonial government. The democratic reform introduced by the government also opened an access to political power for the trade unions. In first ever Legislative Council election in 1985, representatives from the HKFTU, Tam Yu Chung, and the TUC were elected uncontestedly to the two newly created seats in the Labour functional constituency. Tam Yu Chung continued to serve as the member of the Legislative Council until was succeeded by Cheng Yu Tong in 1995. On the other hand, as the most massive grassroots organ of the pro-Beijing bloc, the HKFTU also assumed a vanguard role to resist the pre-1997 democratization. It opposed to the possible direct Legislative Council election of 1988 with the slogan of "Hong Kong workers want only meal tickets but not electoral ballots." However, during the Hong Kong Basic Law drafting process from 1985 to 1990, the HKFTU had to repudiate its demands on rights of union recognition and collective bargaining in the consultative and drafting committees dominated by tycoons. The HKFTU's devotion to Beijing and its collaboration with the conservative business interests were challenged by some leftist unionists. In the beginning of the 1990s, the HKFTU began more involved in politics to counter to the emerging pro-democracy parties such as the United Democrats of Hong Kong, later transformed into Democratic Party, and its ally the Hong Kong Confederation of Trade Unions, HKCTU. Chan Yuan-han represented for the HKFTU to run for the 1991 Legislative Council direct election but was defeated by the Lau Chin-shek, the pro-democracy labor activist representing the United Democrats of Hong Kong. In 1992, the first pro-Beijing party, the Democratic Alliance for the Betterment of Hong Kong, DAB, was co-founded by the HKFTU members. HKFTU began to mobilize supporters to vote for the DAB candidates in the Legislative Council elections. Part 2. History. Chapter 3. Since handover. In 1997, after the transfer of sovereignty over Hong Kong, the HKFTU's representatives joined the Beijing-controlled Provisional Legislative Council to roll back several pre-handover labor rights laws passed in spring 1997 by the colonial legislature controlled by the pro-democracy camp, which included the collective bargaining right under the Employees' Rights to Representation, Consultation and Collective Bargaining Ordinance. The Provisional Legislative Council also enacted new electoral rules to disenfranchise some 800,000 blue, grey and white-collar workers in the 9 functional constituencies created from Chris Patton's electoral reform. The number of eligible voters in the Labour functional constituency was reduced from 2,001 qualified union officials in 1995 to only 361 unions on a one-vote per union basis for the first SAR elections in 1998. The HKFTU has been a vocal supporter of the central and SAR governments. Its then President Cheng Yu Tong was appointed non-official member of the Executive Council from 2002 to 2017. During the early years of the SAR administration, HKFTU members ran in direct elections under the banner of its sister organization, DAB. Since the 2008 Legislative Council elections, Chan Yuen-hun and Wong Kwok-king ran as a HKFTU member independently without DAB and carried a more grassroots and pro-labor rights agenda. In the 2011 District Council election, the HKFTU ran entirely on its own, winning 11 seats out of 20 candidates. In the 2012 Legislative Council elections, the HKFTU filled candidates in 4 of the 5 geographical constituencies, and veteran Chan Yuen-hun contested in the territory-wide District Council. Second constituency, becoming the 4th largest political group in the legislature. In the 2015 District Council election, the HKFTU had 29 candidates elected to under both DAB and FTU banners. Its Legislative Council seats dropped from 6 to 5 in the 2016 Legislative Council election as veteran Wong Kwok-king failed to retain its District Council second seat. Nevertheless, the HKFTU has risen as the 3rd largest political group in the Legislative Council today and had currently 30 HKFTU representatives elected in the district councils. Part 3. Electoral Performance. Part 3. Electoral Performance. Chapter 1. Legislative Council Elections. Element removed. Note 1. Each voter got 2 votes in the 1991 election. Note 2. Before 2008, the HKFTU had a joint ticket with DAB. Part 3. Electoral Performance. Chapter 2. District Council Elections. Element removed. Part 4. List of leadership. Part 4. List of leadership. Chapter 1. Presidents. Chan Yao-kai, 1957 to 1980. Yung Kwong, 1980 to 1988. Lee Chak-tim, 1988 to 2000. Cheng Yu-tong, 2000 to 2012. Lam Shuk-yi, 2012 to 2018. Eng Xiaopei, 2018 present. Part 4. List of leadership. Chapter 2. Chairman. Chu King-man, 1948 to 1949. Cheung Chun-am, 1949 to 1951. Chan Man-hon, 1951 to 1954. Chan Yao-kai, 1954 to 1957. Li Sang, 1957 to 1962. Yung Kwong, 1962 to 1980. Boon Kwong-wai, 1980 to 1986. Cheng Yu-tong, 1986 to 2000. Wong Kwok-kin, 2000 to 2009. Eng Xiaopei, 2009 to 2018. Wong Kwok, 2018 present. Part 5. Representatives. Part 5. Representatives. Chapter 1. Executive Council. Wong Kwok-kin. Part 5. Representatives. Chapter 2. Legislative Council. Element removed. Part 5, Representatives. Chapter 3, District Councils. Element removed. Part 5, Representatives. Chapter 4, National People's Congress. Cheng Yutong. Eng Xiaopei. Part 5, Representatives. Chapter 5, Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference. Lam Shuk Yi. Wang Kwok.